Season 2, Chapter 13, The Rumour That Shook the Battlefield. The battle continued with relentless intensity. Dust covered the valley of Uhud so completely that the sun itself seemed hidden behind the clouds of sand. The clash of swords, the cries of warriors, and the thunder of horses echoed across the battlefield. No one knew what the next moment would bring. The Muslims fought with courage despite their wounds. Many had already sacrificed everything for the sake of Allah. Others continued to defend their brothers, refusing to retreat even as the enemy pressed closer from every direction. In the middle of the chaos, a terrible cry suddenly spread across the battlefield. "Muhammad has been killed!" The words traveled from one warrior to another with incredible speed. Some heard them clearly, others caught only fragments. But within moments, the rumor reached every corner of the battlefield. For a brief instant, hearts trembled. Some Muslims stood frozen in disbelief. Others lowered their weapons, unable to accept what they had just heard. Could it really be true? Had the messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fallen? The confusion became even greater. Dust and smoke made it almost impossible to see. Friend and enemy were difficult to recognize. The Quraysh sensed the growing uncertainty. Believing their plan had succeeded, they launched another fierce assault. Their voices rose with confidence. They hoped the Muslims would completely lose their resolve. But faith cannot be destroyed by a rumor. Among the believers were men whose hearts remained firm. Without hesitation, they began searching for the messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They called out his name while fighting through the chaos. Every step forward was filled with hope, and every heartbeat carried a single prayer. Some companions were wounded, some had fallen. Yet those who remained refused to abandon their mission. They would not rest until they found the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Far from the center of the battlefield, the messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was still alive. Though injured, he stood with patience and complete trust in Allah. Around him gathered a small group of devoted companions. They formed a shield with their own bodies. Every sword raised against him had to pass through them first. Every arrow aimed toward him was met with fearless sacrifice. The Battle of Uhud had entered one of its darkest moments. But the light of faith had not been extinguished. The greatest test was still unfolding. The enemy continued to press forward without mercy. Wave after wave, they attacked with renewed determination. The valley echoed with the clash of steel and the cries of exhausted warriors. Dust and smoke covered everything. It became almost impossible to distinguish friend from enemy. Many companions searched the battlefield with anxious eyes. Some called out to one another. Others stood frozen for a brief moment, unable to understand what had happened. The false rumor continued to spread from one group to another. The Quraysh hoped fear would accomplish what their swords could not. Their confidence grew with every passing moment. The Muslim ranks became scattered across the valley. Small groups fought wherever they found themselves. Many companions were wounded. Others continued fighting despite their injuries. Every step became more difficult. Every moment tested their faith. Yet no one wished to abandon the battlefield. They remembered that they were fighting for the sake of Allah. The struggle continued under a sky darkened by dust. The outcome of the battle seemed uncertain. The valley of Uhud had become a place of confusion, sacrifice, and unwavering faith. The hardest moments were still to come. Around them, the battle showed no sign of slowing. The sound of steel striking steel echoed through the valley. Dust covered the wounded and the living alike. Cries for help could be heard from every direction. Some companions searched desperately for familiar faces. Others gathered the wounded whenever they found a brief moment. The enemy continued advancing through the confusion. No one knew how the battle would end. Every breath became a struggle. Every step required courage. Even in that terrible moment, the believers held firmly to their trust in Allah. Though fear surrounded them, they refused to surrender. The Valley of Uhud had become a place where faith was tested more severely than ever before. The trial was not yet over. Its most difficult moments were still waiting to unfold. To be continued.